The name Diana often becomes synonymous with the late Diana, Princess of Wales, who is a symbol of grace, sophistication, and compassion. Diana Frances Spencer, the Honorable, was born on July 1, 1961, in Norfolk. She adopted the moniker Lady Diana Spencer in 1975, and on July 29, 1981, she with Charles, Prince of Wales in St. Paul's Cathedral in London. She was renowned for her charisma and for exploiting her popularity to promote charitable causes. The princess served as president or patron of more than 100 charities throughout her marriage. She contributed a great deal to promote initiatives on behalf of the poor, the disabled, children, as well as those battling HIV/AIDS. Her work and compassion earned her the respect and love of people worldwide, and the nickname, the People's Princess. As a member of the royal family, Diana went on extensive travels. She traveled with her husband Charles, Prince of Wales, and at times on her own. She initially came out as modest, as seen especially when taken with Prince Charles. This was true while she was on a royal tour of Italy, riding in a gondola in Venice, visiting the British Embassy and the White House, and traveling to France and Thailand. But when she was by herself in Egypt and Argentina, she began to stun and shine. There she was genuinely smiling, shaking hands, and introducing herself to kids, abandoning the signature hats in favor of a cheerful disposition and a wardrobe full of elegant, form-fitting clothing. Diana soon caught up with the art of entertaining large crowds during Charles and Diana's first official international trip to Australia and New Zealand in 1983. She could easily connect with the crowds of people that swarmed to meet her, and over time, her charming features contributed significantly to her popularity. As she traveled on more royal journeys, she shone on every occasion, from playfully driving a tank at a Berlin army camp to wearing the colorful gowns and huge hats that were the royal lady's uniform, to wearing a tiara and a stunning gown in more formal settings. Diana continued to visit and support causes even after their divorce in 1996, though she was no longer a member of the official royal travels. Diana began her first royal tour in October 1981 when she traveled to Wales for 3 days with Charles, according to the royal family's website. After that, Charles and Diana visited countries including Australia, Brazil, India, Nigeria, Canada, Indonesia, Cameroon, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Japan, and France while they were still married. In the countries and cities she visited, her kindness, compassion, and sincerity shone and left a mark on the people and for the world to remember. Here are the countries the late Diana, Princess of Wales, visited. New Zealand. On April 18, 1983, Diana arrived in Auckland, New Zealand, and was welcomed with the customary Maori greeting of a nose rub. Diana, Charles, and a young Prince William, Duke of Cambridge, traveled to New Zealand and Australia during this specific trip. Australia. When they were in Sydney, Australia, the Prince and Princess of Wales attracted large crowds. This was on their 1983 visit to Australia and New Zealand, their first international trip as royal ambassadors. Prince William, who was 9 months old, was traveling with his parents for the first time. There are many photos of Prince Charles and Princess Diana on this trip. Photos of them on a stagecoach ride in Ballarat, in front of Ayers Rock, and at the Hands Oval Sporting Complex in Bunbury, Australia, while traveling in a Land Rover. Canada. During the royal tour of Canada in 1983, Princess Diana wore an outfit with Edwardian influences to a Klondike evening barbecue at Fort Edmonton. When she was in Charlo, Canada, gloves were given to her as a gift from the Mi'kmaq Indians. At the 1986 Expo exhibition in Vancouver, she met with Native Canadians. Italy. Diana and Charles embarked on a second royal trip in April 1985, which was 2 years later. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, who the couple had welcomed in 1984, accompanied them. During this royal trip, Diana and Charles rode by the means of a gondola along the Grand Canal in Venice. Germany. Diana demonstrated her willingness to attempt everything as she became more at ease with being in the spotlight. In 1985, she drove a tank at the Royal Hampshire Regiment Army Base in Berlin, Germany, while sporting shoes and a tracksuit. At the Light Dragoon Guards base in Bergen-Hohn, northern Germany, Diana observed a parade of the unit in 1995. USA. The arrival of Charles and Diana to the United States in 1985 sparked a severe case of royal frenzy. A reception at the British Embassy in Washington, D.C. with Vice President George H.W. Bush and his wife, Barbara, was one of the many sights and events they saw. Subsequently, Diana and First Lady Nancy Reagan went on a tour of a Virginia drug rehab facility and danced with the famous actor John Travolta at the White House. Vatican City. Princess Diana and Prince Charles met Pope John Paul I at the Vatican. Hungary. Diana visited a film set while on a tour of Hungary for business. Diana and Charles strolled through a covered market in Budapest, Hungary, when they were there. Japan. The princess dressed in a kimono to participate in a traditional tea ceremony at the Shogakuin Imperial Villa grounds in Kyoto during Charles and Diana's 1986 visit to Japan. Thailand. Prince Charles and Princess Diana visited Wat Phra Kew, the revered temple of the Emerald Buddha, on their official visit to Thailand in 1988. She later then played petanque, a lawn sport, where Diana charmed and awed the locals. Indonesia. During the royal tour of Indonesia, she visited Jakarta with Prince Charles. Here she engaged in a variety of activities, including bowling. Arab states. The prince and princess traveled to the Arab countries of the Persian Gulf in March 1989 as part of the royal visit. While there, she watched camel racing in Dubai. Spain. Being an international fashion icon, pageantry accompanied Princess Diana everywhere she went. Diana was received warmly by local ladies in the Malu village in Rajasthan when she was on a week-long trip to India. Brazil. While visiting Brazil, Diana was photographed next to the symbolic Christ, the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro. She also went to the Iguas Falls, another tourist destination in the nation. Egypt. During a visit to Egypt in 1992, Diana went to the Al-Azhar Mosque in Cairo, the tomb of King Seti I, the Great Pyramid of Giza, and Karnak Temple in Luxor, and posed in front of the Sphinx. India. On her arrival in Hyderabad, India in 1992, she was given a warm greeting by cultural dancers. The highlight of this trip is when Diana famously went to the Taj Mahal by herself when she was on a royal tour of India with Charles in February 1992. It is shown in one of her most famous images. According to CBS News, word of their divorce became public in December 1992, and although the image came to represent Charles and Diana's failed union, it was so well remembered that William, Prince of Wales, and his wife Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, recreated it during their trip to the Taj Mahal in 2016. Zimbabwe. According to the Evening Standard, Diana made her first solo trip to Africa and traveled to Zimbabwe, where she fed children at a refugee facility, the Tongogera refugee camp. This happened in 1993, a year after she and Charles announced their separation publicly. She also visited the Great Zimbabwe ruins during the trip. Argentina. Diana continued traveling the world as a goodwill ambassador even after her divorce from Charles. After giving an honest and revealing BBC interview about her marriage, her 1995 journey to Argentina seemed to have a difficult start, but she ultimately won over the community with heartfelt initiatives and visits to a rehabilitation facility and an infant paralysis unit. Diana, Princess of Wales, died on Sunday, August 31, 1997, as a result of a vehicle accident that took place in Paris. But even after she passed away, the princess's humanitarian initiatives, charities, and projects continued to fulfill her goals and advocacies in helping those in need.